Hi, this is Miranda from My Scrappy Life and welcome back to my channel. This is a process video for Multi-Photo Monday where I'm going to use this sketch in my layout. Obviously, you guys all know that Multi-Photo Monday is where you use 2 or more photos on your layout. And I ended up getting 4 photos on this layout. Now, these are the photos that I have taken. I am back into my Italy trip that I did in August of 2017. It was our very last big trip that my family took before we PCS'd or moved back from Germany to the States where I'm at in Georgia now. And so what I decided to do on this sketch is follow it roughly to the T. Now, I did change it up to where my photos are going to sit and kind of what they used. They did more banners and things like that, and they kind of clipped them on, and I am going to punch holes into mine and get it to look like it's hanging off the page. I do all my distressing and all this stuff. So as of right now, what you are seeing is the very last layout for the April and May's kit for the hip kit put together. I figured it out. I was able to get 11 layouts done with their kit. And yes, that was the individual kits and including when I put them together. And here I am. Yes, I know. It took me a minute or two to get it. And finally, when I do get it, I come back on camera, obviously. So now it's done. Now I learned my lesson and I'm doing it one by one for that respect. But I was able to get 11 layouts. Even when I combined them, I was still able to get that many. So that for me is actually pretty good considering that I am embellishment and paper heavy on my layouts. While I am doing this as well, I have kind of placed everything together to make sure it all looks good. And made sure that all of the papers kind of mixed and matched, but still with the layers of them being the same on the respect that I use the same color tones. Now, the back piece of paper is from the crepe paper where I did more of the rainbow color to bring in all of these vintage colors into my layout while I am doing this. So at first I was like, man, I don't know if I did this the right way. But now the more and more I was doing it, I was like, yep, this is perfect. I loved how this turned out. And I really loved how this all came together. Now, this layout took me about an hour and 10 minutes to do. And that's only because it is very intense of embellishment heavy and paper heavy and just getting it put down. And it's because of the sketch. I mean, the sketch had 5 photos on there. 5 photos, and I did only 4. But I placed all the little bits that even though that they had a photo, I turned it into some type of like hanging tag, if you want to call it, with the thread. And the 3 pieces of thread that I have, one set is from Close to My Heart, and then the other set is from Stampin' Up. I just kind of went and purchased a little bit of some thread and stuff because I didn't really have any in my stash, and I try not to keep that much of this type of stuff in there because I don't use it all that often, and I'm not one to keep a lot of that knowing in my stash because one, I do move a lot right now. My husband's still military, as you guys know, if you guys have followed me long enough. He's still military, so I still purge every time we move, and we move about every 3 years. We're rolling in, this is in July, so we're rolling in October, well, actually the end of September now, because we PCS'd early, just a little bit, but we are now to the point of being 2 years in of this move. So I'm going to be getting ready to PCS again to another location of wherever wherever the Army decides to take us, for that respect. So I do keep it down and I try to keep everything down. I did accumulate more now that I have the space here, but for the most part, I still make sure that I use up everything. And like I said, I mean, I got 11 layouts out of this, so you can't complain too much about how many layouts I was able to get out of this one collection, or out of this one kit times 2, because, you know, I did connect them together. So now I'm just getting all of the blocks. Now I've got all the photos kind of placed to where I want them, and then I'll kind of go from there on working one row at a time, just to get them to look where I want them. So the top row, the photo is going to be way at the end, and then I'm going to add. Now I do glue down the thread that I'm using, and I think it's actually more twine, but it's really thick, like thread looking stuff. And I'm just gluing it down just a little bit so it looks like it stays across. And I take my tiny attacher that you see there from Close to My Heart, and I place those little bits down with it, just here and there. The thread is being held by the tiny attacher times 2 on both sides of the thread across my page. Now I do leave my page there just to let you know as I'm working on these pieces, but it will come back into screen once I get it done. And I do place the thread, and I make sure that the thread is placed down in the spots that I want the excess to hang. So if I wanted it to turn a little bit, I just glued it and then I held it down and it stayed put. Tombow is amazing for that. So now I'm just going through all of the pieces that I have left over, and after this layout I disbanded all and distashed it into my kit. So that works out perfect for me. A lot of the pieces that I have, either I gave them to my daughter because she scrapbooks right along with me. She's like right behind me when I scrapbook in here, and she is now doing her own album. She gets a few pictures of mine and that I have taken throughout the year, and it's just her stuff, and she scrapbooks right along. Anytime that I know that there's just a little bit of stickers left, I give them to her, and she uses them. She has no problem with it. She absolutely loves it, and she scrapbooks right along with me. So she's going to be 2nd grade here in this school year, so she's pretty excited to have like her own well, she's always had her scrappy space in here, but now it's like her own scrappy products and whatnot. We're hoping that this coming time that we have to PCS is going to be our last, and then we can get an actual house after he's like out, and after my husband's out, and then I'm able to get like one of the rooms a little bit bigger so that she can have her own little space. Like I'll buy her own little thing and then go from there. So while I'm going through this layout here, what I am going to do is that I'm placing everything down. It goes through, and then because I couldn't finish this at night, my screen or my like what my scrappy space looks like changes just a little bit because it's during the day versus at night. Right now I'm filming at night, and after I get done with this part, I do switch it over because I am, like I said, I do scrapbook in the morning to finish this up because I couldn't finish it like I wanted to, because this, like I said, took me, before I put it up to times 5, this is 5 times the speed, only because it was an hour and a half long, but really you can see what I'm doing. Like it's not like I'm speed demon through it to get a 30-minute video done in 5. I mean, this took a long time. I mean, this is almost a 15-minute video with me being that sped up. So, but yeah, I really enjoy the way this turned out. I love that it was a busier layout. And a little bit about the photos, a little bit more about the photos. They were on the going down to Italy. So we drove because we weren't that far from Firenze, Italy, and that's where we stayed because of what we decided to do in the 4 days that we took the leave for to do. We took 1 day of travel, 1 day to go to the east side of Italy, and then the 3rd day was to travel to the west side of Italy, and then the 4th day was to drive back home. So we did the eastern seaboard. Here's the next day. So before I get more into the pictures, I am going to do a shaker pocket. So the reason why I had this out was because I put the ink on it and put it down exactly where I want so I can place the sequence mix. Now this little pocket is the Instagram pocket pictures or whatever that they use. That was out of the All Heart collection. It was the frames that looked like an like the Instapic. So instead of I left the plastic on there, glued it on to make sure it stayed, and then glued this all on, and it's staying perfectly. It doesn't even look like I didn't even have to worry about finding a plastic piece. I just used what this was glued on. It worked perfect. So the rest of the photos are when we went down. So we went to the eastern side, and we went through a little bit of Austria and then hit Italy. So I am telling you, it is like a wall sauna. You get to the northern part of Italy and it's still chilly. Like, we were in long sleeve shirts and shorts because we knew once we hit Firenze it was going to be molassesly hot. And I kid you not, we went from a wall. Like, it was cold, and then we came out of a tunnel and it like exploded heat. Like 90-degree heat. I was like, this is insanity. Because living in Germany, if you got even that remotely close to that hot or that heat, you would be like sauna, because they don't have AC over there or any of that sort. So I am telling you, we went into a wall and it was hot. So that was the eastern side. So we ended up going in rain. We had the cold air. We had all of that. And then the green photos, the one green photo that's on top is all of the olive trees where they grow the olive. So all of the olives get grown in the northern part of Italy and then get shipped to the southern part of Italy to be processed into olive oil. And they, farm up the hill. It doesn't matter. It's farmed up the hill, this, that, and the other. And then that's you get an earthy type of the olive oil. And then the middle one is, of course, we have to have a stow. There's always a stow. Every time we traveled, we at least got into 1 to 2 stows every time. If you don't know what a stow is, it's traffic, like a traffic jam in the United States. Stow is a German word. And then the bottom 2 is a castle that we passed that was in Italy, that we could have stopped at, but we didn't. I got pictures along the way. So that's what those are. And now I'm just embellishing. I got everything placed down. I put that bow down. I used some of the vintage style peace sign and love sign and the hitchhiker thumb and all of that kind of stuff. The little bandana that I put down is called the sweet. And just going through these little pieces, embellishing just here and there, getting things down and making it look good. So while you're finishing this up, I am so glad that you guys are here. Make sure that if you are new to my channel, welcome. I do post about 2 to 3 times a week. I would love to have you, so I hope that you like and subscribe to my channel. If you are an old subscriber of mine or one that's already subscribed, thank you for coming back. I am pretty much finishing up here. This is pretty much where I'm at. And then also make sure that you go check out everybody that joined us this month at the bottom. Their links to their videos will be down below. And I'm pretty much done. Now I'm just going through everything, making sure it all looks good. And I'm adding little bits of stuff here. And then that's pretty much it. You guys all know that the still shots are at the end. I do off camera add sequins, a little bit more sequins and black splatters, because I figured that was enough for you guys to watch just this portion of it. But outside of that, that is pretty much what this looks like. I'm just finishing up the little odds and ends here, just adding finished up those hearts. I finished the hearts. I finished like 4 different things while I did this layout. So I'm glad for that. I'm so glad I was able to finish quite a bit of this stuff up, so I didn't have to put like onesies and twosies into my stash, because I hate doing that when I have to disband a kit and I've got onesies and twosies left over. But because this layout ended up being pretty busy, it works out perfectly. So I'm going to leave you with me finishing up this. Make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel. Make sure you go check out everybody else. The still shots are coming up. And I will talk to you soon. Bye!